Welcome to News Stripped Down, where I dig through the news and weed out all the nonsense so you guys don't have to. 30 minutes or less. Why? Because anything longer than that's probably just BS, anyways. So, short little show today to you guys. I just listened to CBC radio. I'm glad I found this online, this little clip here. But it's interview with Wob Canoe and a CBC broadcaster. I can't quite remember her name, but if you listen to CBC Radio Winnipeg, you definitely know who she is. But I'm gonna play this interview. He kind of starts talking. Well, they're talking about data centers and a data center that's supposed to be being built outside of Winnipeg, and talking about priorities and things like this. He brings up a few good points here, but lady interviewing him right now he's about to talk about other topics that are being brought up about these data centers, and she kind of throws her own kind of policies in there, just the basic policies that everyone is already kind of bringing up in the first place. But here, just listen to this, you guys.
Something that you do have an update on, which is the AI data center south of Winnipeg near Ile-des-Shane. What can you tell us about it this morning?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of attention on this data center near Ile-des-Shane, a lot of signatures gathered on a petition. And so we're going to say no to this data center. And I can explain a bit about what that means, really, because there's a whole bureaucratic process with the government and Manitoba Hydro. What we're actually doing is requests for power, new power hookups from Manitoba Hydro. They now come to us to get designated high, medium, low. As you can imagine, a high priority item, like let's say the new investments at 17 Wing, the Air Force Base, that means Manitoba Hydro is going to work on them right away. The medium priority ones have to wait after
that Air Force Base. I believe they're working on some treaty land that had been given to them, so that's going to get priority first.
For that, and if something gets designated low, it's basically not going to happen. So we've taken a look at this project. We've taken a look at AI more broadly, what's happening across North America, and these hyperscale data centers don't appear to be in the best interests of Manitobans.
Why?
At least the proponents that we've seen. Well,
help me through your thinking of why you're saying no.
An hour long.
See, this is what I don't like about the way this interview is going to go right here. Rewind this just a bit, and then I'll shut up until you'll hear what I'm talking about.
Well,
help me through your thinking of why you're saying no.
An hour long conversation we could have.
I could tell you,
boil it down.
Just so listeners know too here. So some of the people in the area have been concerned about proximity to community, potential impact of noise, light, and air pollution. Are those some of the things that you looked at?
Environment is like I would say environment. Some of the other, like if you look at the regulation under this part of the Hydro Act, it's not only the environment, it's also impact.
You see how she put words in his mouth? Like, duh, those are the obvious common questions. She could have thought of a better question than, environmental, quality of life around data centers. And I really don't like the way that she put words in his mouth to kind of speed up the conversation. You know where he was going to talk about. He was going to talk about the other things that, that people want to know. And she kind of just threw a brick wall in his face. But I'll continue with this interview. It's almost over. It's not very long.
On rural communities, we got to be mindful of the unique way of life and like the benefits that rural Manitobans want to keep. Then we look at the economic side as well. And while there would be a lot of economic activity during the construction phase, once a hyperscale data center is running, you're not going to see much economic benefit. In fact, most of the economic benefit probably leaves the province. So you will see us do data centers, but we took a look at Manitoba government, and we have a lot of important information, your health information, etc. We use about 1 to 1.5 megawatts of compute as the entire government.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of building like a 500 megawatt facility, it doesn't really make sense. And what I push a step further for people who really pay attention to this is you can now run a close to frontier large language model on a MacBook. You buy a newer MacBook, it's not cheap, but you could run it locally. So I have the feeling that maybe these $30 billion hyperscale data centers are going to be albatrosses in the future when people can run the AI that's necessary for their day-to-day use on their local MacBook and that they would be able to keep all their data at home, private, on their own computer, instead of giving it away to Elon Musk and Sam Altman.
Oh,
Instead of giving it away to Elon Musk and Sam Altman. But he does have a really good point here when it comes to these data centers. These are giant albatrosses, like a Trojan horse. Like it sounds like a good idea, but it doesn't sound like a good idea. Like, why do we need all this data centers when there are devices and systems that you could put in your own home to store all your own data? Like, it really doesn't make any sense. And then if somebody wants to buy my data, I can put it on a free market and sell my data, like, and actually get a profit from it. Then allowing these other companies like Netflix and Disney using our data against them. Well, Google does the same thing. But shout out to Wob Canoe. Like I said, like, I'm not a big fan of Wob Canoe, but that's the thing with politics. There's going to be a lot of things that he's going to say that I don't agree with, but there's a lot of things that he does say too. So it's like a 6-7, 6-7. It's a 50-50. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, Wob Canoe is doing great things throughout the province, and this is another like kind of feather in his cap, or another feather in his in his head feathers there. But yeah, this is definitely another feather in his cap for sure, doing something like this and being so decisive about it too. Like, he's not dancing around the question. He's being very decisive about how he's, dealing with like a major issue like this. Like, I know in the United States, data centers are starting to become a major issue and starting to become talked about. And one of the reasons is how fast they get built. It's like they're trying to sneak this in underneath our noses and stuff. And a lot of politicians, getting kickbacks to allow these big projects to happen. And it's good to see. Well, it, definitely not going to be a pushover Wob Canoe when it comes to data centers and AI technology being used in Manitoba. Manitoba is one of the first provinces that is enacting laws within the province to protect youths below the age of 16 from them not being able to use AI technologies and certain social media apps. Like, this isn't good for kids in the first place, but Manitoba is definitely taking some major steps. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. It's a shame that YouTube won't allow that. That YouTube automatically blocks stuff like that, but that's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. Wob Canoe's doing some pretty good stuff in Manitoba. Yeah, there's a few things that do kind of, piss me off about him, but I don't know. He's definitely doing his part for sure. And this no to data centers is quite big. And to some people, like, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Because, Canada, we're trying to play this catch up game with our military and some of our industry and the way we get our industry out to market. So if we say no to this data center now, is that kind of just putting everything like too far back? Like, are we going to have to play catch up when it comes to this data center nonsense? You look into the YouTube thing? I could show that now. It's allowing me to show it. There. Now I can show it. Sorry, I had to go through some algorithm before it even allowed me to show that. I love a good joke. Uh, yeah. And Wob Canoe calling out Danielle Smith the other day, and now she's starting to bark back a little bit, kind of like, worry about your own province, worry about your own province. Well, I said that like last week when it came to Danielle Smith and what's his name, Abby in BC. You know what? You guys just worry about your own provinces. You guys are so worried about what each other's provinces are doing. You guys aren't seeing the big picture, and you're just convoluting what you think is happening and what your voters want. Like, you constantly talking about another province. when, you know, you're confusing your constituents. Like, yes, BC has their own views, but you're here in Alberta. Let's work on those views, you know. And then for Danielle Smith to kind of tell Wob Canoe that was kind of funny. But that's it for. I just wanted to talk about that today. I thought that was kind of important. If the audio was good on the way I played that Wob Canoe interview there, I might do a couple more like that. There's a couple interviews. I would like to play the chat that the West Coast provinces sit down. That chat where they sat down, that was pretty interesting. Um, a lot of BS in there, but we can stop and pause through there and then weed through all that nonsense and get to the point and fast forward to the good parts where they're actually getting like something accomplished with their words instead of some stupid sound bites. But I wasn't really happy with that interviewer today, and she's quite popular in Manitoba when it comes to radio broadcasting. I'll check her name out. Uh, Sorry, it's just skipping my head right now. I should have looked up her name before I did this. But yeah, that's it for today. I got some stuff I gotta go do for a buddy, and yeah, I'm busy for the afternoon, so I won't be able to do my 4 o'clock show. But I got 11 minutes in. I got to talk about some important stuff that's coming up right now. I could talk about Kuzma, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything to really talk about Kuzma. Like the lumber industry got their payouts, they're staying quiet right now. Automotive industry is seeming to get what they want right now. Yeah, a lot of industries, oil and gas are starting to get some major stuff happening. The grain markets, we found alternative resources to get our grains out to market. What else have we done? So pretty much everyone's starting to get covered here, and then the military, and then some of these deals that, yeah, Canada's doing, that fighter or not the Global Eye jets that Canada is purchasing from Saab. Well, they're really not purchasing them from Saab. They're actually Canadian made jets. So we're just going to be using their software and their adaptability to that aircraft. So there we go. We killed two birds with one stone. We have Global Eye system, and now we're bumping up the aerospace industry. So yeah, two birds with one stone. Actually, pretty much three birds with one stone, because now we're getting our leaving our independence, leading away from our dependence from the United States. Which, so yeah, we just killed three birds with one stone with that deal. And then money into the economy too. But you have to realize like these Canadian companies are going to be getting a lot of tax breaks just so we can get product going through other foreign investors. So it's not going to change overnight, but it's very surprising to see the things that have changed quite quickly. Like, and yeah, Carney's getting a lot of flack, blah, blah, blah. But name one president or prime minister right now that isn't getting flack for anything. That isn't a third world country, okay? Just think about that. Name one president or prime minister right now that's not pulling their hair out. And I think Carney's doing a fantastic job. And like I've said this before, I was a PC before till I started seeing these changes. And I don't know, you're going to get flack when you're doing something right too. And, you know, even if you break some eggs along the way, you know, you got to do that to make an omelet. And, you know, really, I think what the breaking of the eggs is us really starting to separate from the United States. And it doesn't help where they're adding more tariffs and not sanctions, but more tariffs and duties on Canadian products when we have this Kuzma deal coming up. You know, like this, it's not going to happen, you guys. I don't think this Kuzma deal is anybody's going to get anything that they want out of it. And Canada and Mexico already working on their own agreement. The only problems is the logistics. We have this big country, America, in between us. So how are we going to efficiently get product? They're going to find some way of taxing the trucking routes to make us pay for it. So whether they're getting it through tariffs on, product itself, they're going to start trying to tariff us on, fuel consumption and using their highways, start charging us road taxes, things like that. Like they're already doing that here in Canada. And if you don't think so, that's part of our taxes that we pay into the fuel. Like our fuel is like, it's like cigarettes. Cigarettes are expensive, right? But how much money of that actually goes to cigarette companies? Like, I think it's only like 5%. Okay, so what we should be doing is instead of suing the cigarette companies for the harm that cigarettes are doing to each other, we should be going after the federal government because they're the ones profiting from it more than the cigarette companies are. So it's same kind of scenario when it's coming to oil and gas. But yeah, I'm out of here. I gotta go do my stuff. I didn't think I was gonna do this long, but shout out to Wob Canoe. Even like I said, I don't like you, bud. I don't like you, but you're doing some good things, and you're whether you ruffle feathers or not, that's politics, and that's YouTube as well. There's a lot of people on YouTube sit there, they can't handle it, can't deal with the trolls and other things like that. Then you probably shouldn't be doing YouTube, and you should definitely not be talking about how the world is. Because if you're that soft and you can't deal with trolls on YouTube, then yeah, it'd be scary to see what you're like in the real world. Because if you really let stuff get to you that bad, then yeah, you're probably not the right choice to be doing things on social media in the first place. Whether you're a child or a grown adult, you know who should know better. But and you got to remember, trolls are still views. Like that's another thing. So, but anyways, I'm out of here. I got stuff I gotta do. I will definitely be back for tomorrow's show. I can't leave you guys in the lurch for Friday. And yeah, there's quite a few topics I want to talk about. Carney and his speech in New York City there, and I know that's a little bit old news, but I think people are starting to wake up even after his UN speech or his NATO speech he did, or was that the some world organization speech he did, and then the New York City speech. It's kind of the same rhetoric that he was talking about before on the world stage. It's just now more concentrated in corporate minds. There was a lot of corporate businesses and companies sitting there at that meeting when he was talking, and his focus was on like trying to convince the world, we need to get rid of this old guard, and the way that the world worked, say 5 6 years ago, isn't the way that the world works now. So we either need to take a shit or get off the pot, essentially. So yeah, we need to start making some major fundamental changes if we want to keep growing as countries, because we're kind of just painted ourselves in a corner. Every country has, and Carney's, I don't know, he's a businessman. He worked for the Bank of England for how many years? He's got wicked ties with BlackRock, major investment firms. Like some of the people he's put on with the trade talks between Canada and the U.S. There's one guy, he was not a CEO, but a high level ranking member and of BlackRock investment organization. So yes, Carney does have some major ties, and this is probably why we're getting so many deals done so quickly, is because he already has the backdoor channels to it, and uh, for him to be quiet, like yeah, just you have to realize he's a politician too, and with the way the global market and things are happening in the world right now, yes, this is why he's being quiet about certain deals. Like, why would we let other countries, you know, try and steal that from underneath us? And I feel bad for America. There's some of the countries that made a deal with the Americans already, just because of some of these tariffs. And you know what? You got tariffed more on top of those anyways. So really to sit there and make a deal with the United States and you still get tariffed. Yeah, it just showed that you as a country and your leaders are just a bunch of pushovers, and you shouldn't always just bend over backwards when one country tells you what to do. Like, look at how some of these wars are started. Like, I'm surprised nothing's happened. And but that's it for today. I'm out. I'll be back for Friday's show. News stripped down and I'll be back to my normal time at 4 to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. And then Friday's show. Quite a bit of things I want to talk about, and I might do a little bit longer. I was looking at some of my view count and stuff. I need to get up to quite a for quite a bit more views, hour views, so I can start doing some extra things with my channel here. But yes, I'll be back tomorrow. And if I don't see you guys on Friday, you guys have a good weekend. It's beautiful outside today, and this is why I'm not doing the news at 4. So I'm out of here, off to go do some work. Peace out. You guys have a good one. And if I don't see you, have a great weekend.